The first round of creative destruction in corporate India began in 1991 with Dr. Manmohan Singh and Narasimha Rao's reform. And that has had entirely beneficial consequences for India. I do believe that the second round of similar destruction is now on. I stand today in an office in Noida where some of that is being done. And my guests this week, two of these new disruptors. Vijay Shekhar Sharma, founder of Paytm, you wear it on your chest, and Ritesh Agrawal, founder of Oyo Rooms. You are almost too young, not too young to vote, but too young to stand in elections.
Yeah, that's right.
21 years old? Just about 21 years old.
Yeah.
So, are you disruptors? And who is each one of you disrupting?
Michelangelo said that I just remove what is not necessary and I build a beautiful sculpture. I think we are, with technology, we are removing what is not needed. I think this is
you rehearsed for this.
I didn't.
You did?
Well, between us, I tell my team, some of you who are shit movers are those who are Michelangelos because he did this. Remove what is not necessary, gets a great output.
And you see yourself as a disruptor, and what are you disrupting?
So I think not really. I think I look at myself as a creator, and the belief is saying we are creating something which was needed for a long time, but unfortunately nobody created it earlier. So possibly it was for us to create what we had to.
So tell us about what you've created. Then we'll ask you to talk about yourself. But Oyo Rooms, what is Oyo Rooms?
So Oyo is today, in a year and a half, India's largest brand of hotels, which possibly people have taken hundreds of years to build for a long time here in India. We have, in real terms, democratized the way people would think at hotels across the country. We operate across 100 cities today, across budget, premium, and upmarket categories, where people are able to get consistent hotel experiences.
But you don't own any hotel.
We don't own a single hotel.
You don't own a single share in a single hotel.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. But we still control every hotel by means of technology. I would know at this point of time what's happening in each room where a consumer has checked in at a
Not inside each room. That will be troublesome.
I mean, to some extent, yes. Inside each room until people are ordering food. But time out. Can we... Kidding,
okay.
But that's right.
What are you doing to disrupt? I know that you got big bankers, I was told, irritated with you.
No, I think we are changing the face of Indian economy by changing the way people use currency. Traditionally, this country has been cash-centric. We move money, we pay anyone, we pay a shop, we pay each other using cash. And cash is very not good for economy overall. It enhances corruption, it is tough to carry, it is costly. And once you digitize that, the world becomes a better place. I believe that we as Paytm are changing the way Indians pay anyone. And today we are 100 million users. And in next 5 years...
That is 10 crore.
That is 10 crores.
So who do you disrupt? He's disrupting established hotel chains, because when he says that this is the largest hotel chain, then I think Taj, I think Oberoi. I know they have arguments, but he is creating trouble for them.
Correct. So I don't think we are creating trouble. We are enhancing. So Indians are very deprived of financial inclusion, if you notice. We have about 200 million, 20 crore of us who have bank account and services, financial services, and there is a 500 million of us who deserve it. So Paytm is reaching out to those people who are not served. Actually, we are augmenting the scope of Indian economy. Our mission statement says that we will bring 500 million Indian to the mainstream economy. And that is where we, instead of disrupting, I personally believe that we are augmenting to the space where traditional BFSIs have not reached.
But at the same time, you're forcing the banks to change their business model.
That
their
is
profit
inevitable.
model.
That is inevitable for some time, because once the technology starts to get into an industry, that industry fundamentals need to be relooked. It has happened across retail.
Banks make too much money.
They should, but they should distribute it to deserving and needed.
Because something has to fund $100 Hermes ties.
Maybe that is what it is, and at the same point of time, I believe that as Indians, we deserve to live a better life than we've been till this now. It is easy to get a 6,000 crore rupee of loan, but not 6 lakh rupees or 60,000.
And if you get a 6,000 crore rupee loan, you don't even have to return it.
Yeah, you can get away by paying 1/100th of it. We know whom are we talking.
I know banks are told to take a haircut, which I usually call a mundan.
Correct.
Not a haircut.
So
not ensuring.
Correct. What you said is exactly what our belief is, that Every Indian should be able to get a bank account. Every Indian should be able to pay digitally, and every Indian should be able to come on a credit note circle. So, typical these informal banking systems like chit funds, like micro lendings, which are very pricey. All those things are the evil of the economy.
Now, all your Saradas and even Sahara and all these things, because banking is not available there.
Truly.
Okay.
So what
you can't take deposits yet.
We yet, but government has given us a permission for payment bank, which will allow us to run a
up to 1 lakh.
deposit. 1 lakh.
Up to 1 lakh.
1 lakh rupee of concurrent balance. I can cycle that to investments.
You can keep on.
Correct.
So, Nitesh, what's your mission statement? I know at 21 you can change it 20 times. But
Yeah.
What is it now?
No, I think somebody had told us that with every creation of your product, your mission statement gets bolder and bigger. But I think for us, the mission statement is saying we want to change the way how people stay away from home in India. I want to reiterate that we are not disrupting anyone.
You want to change the way how people stay away from home.
Yeah. Because our belief is saying 6 times as many people stay with relatives to the number of people who stay at hotels, which is a large market. That is like reality is. That's what I was.
It's very tough in India to have relatives.
Yeah.
It's a relative problem.
It's a relative problem. I mean, I remember as a child, whenever I would go to a new city, my family would not know the person.
You're still a child.
Yeah, I mean.
A child.
I would go to a different city, and my family would find some distant relative whom none of us ever had any idea of, and we would stay at their house. Because apparent issues, right?
Atiti Devo Bhav. You know what I mean?
I know.
So our belief is, like you said, and like Vijay mentioned, we are not disrupting an industry. These are the masses who were never served in this country. There is no mass market hotel brand in the country which has more than 400 million travelers. I mean, that is a huge market to be solving a problem for. And for us, the belief is sleep in their own house and everything else should be OYO. And in the future, our belief is houses will become a lot more easier with OYO than without OYO. So that's sort of the long-term vision that we have at OYO.
So we see where Paytm comes from.
Pay through mobile.
Pay through mobile. Where does OYO come from?
This is a story we generally don't talk about. The reason why we don't talk about it is because it can communicate something which we don't stand for. But I'll give you the background, and this is the first time. So as a child, like I said, I used to stay in relatives' houses, and I used to find it incredibly, crazily bad that I could not control the TV remote.
Right.
And
it's very oppressive.
Yeah, and I felt I wanted to do it, and hence it came with on your own that I should be independent to stay wherever.
OYO is on your own.
That's right.
Wow, that's not bad actually. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
The reason why we
so good, it looks like an afterthought to me.
Yeah, actually. and in fact, when you tell somebody that you are on your own and I'll give you accommodation, this is incredible vision in itself.
Yeah.
I really admire that.
So the reason why we don't talk about it outside is because for a functional user, it might mean that it is all self-service, which it is not. Because we enable a very, very assisted module for consumers. But that's sort of the way the name came from.
197 you stole from what used to be DOT then, before MTNL came in. 197 is the number you called. You were just about 10 years old then. Not 10 years. You were
7 or 8
years
barely
old.
born.
He was barely born. He was
Right.
programming something.
He was programming, yes. I think just before that, Jaglan fellow became world champion in his category in golf.
Yes.
He was our last prodigy. But at that point, when your phone broke, if you wanted to know somebody's phone number, you called 197. It was called telephone inquiries.
Yes.
And usually, you were put on a wait, and it said, कृपया इंतजार कीजिए, आप कतार में हैं, ये recording है.
उससे बात नहीं करें.
So you don't start conversation.
So actually,
so it was 197.
company name came from that.
From that,
So
197.
on internet you search 197, you should see us and we will tell you the name and number of the person who you are searching. Business was
So
totally,
nobody from DOT came complaining to you? Or they had not trademarked
I've learned one thing in this country. People want to pull you down, people want to claim a problem with you only when you're super successful. Before that, everybody is allowed. And that is the problem both ways. Because before that, everything is allowed.
And once you become successful, then everything is questioned. People go after you. Yes, sir. So, back to you.
Yeah.
So, when does entrepreneurship start? At the age of 13, 12, 11? When?
I think entrepreneurship is either sort of the way you live your life. And second, for me, it started when I was started my first company was 3 years ago, which is the company that I've been building for a while. It started as a very different company to begin with, where I would enable online booking of hotels and rooms. For a few months, continued doing that. During the period, I would stay in a new bed and breakfast, serviced apartment, guest house every day, and realized that the experiences are extremely broken. You pick up the phone, call the hotel owner, he won't pick up the phone. Reach the hotel, no sign.
That's like a 7-star in America.
Absolutely.
The same thing happens. I've never had the pleasure of having anybody actually
Available
to help with bags.
Yeah.
I have never been able to get room service in time.
That's capitalist world.
Yeah.
You need to throw a little more money.
Yes,
Yeah.
and at the Waldorf Astoria,
Yeah.
I asked for tea and they said we can't service tea. Why don't you walk down 1.5 blocks away? There's
a great shop.
There's a Starbucks. Right.
It is true.
So I think
So it's not just bum hotels in India.
It's a global problem.
So given that was a problem, the belief was saying we wanted to solve it regardless of what it meant. We did not have the fortune of having a global comparison where you would say that there is a global company that is similar to yours. And hence we had to create the wheel every time. But started with one hotel where I used to be the housekeeping guy, the sales guy, everything that would be. And that is the reality with every entrepreneur. I possibly can do housekeeping better than many other hospitality guys in this country. In a year and a half, we've been able to build India's largest hotel brand with 2,500 hotels, 25,000 rooms, and more than 500,000 nights booked every month. So, and we continue to grow at...
Your last investor round was at valuation of 15,000 crores?
Yeah, I mean, officially I am not totally going to go on television saying that because this is sort of confined into numbers, but we raised ample amount of money to keep us going for next 3-4 years.
And who were your last investors, the big investors?
Alibaba affiliate, Alipay.
Jack Ma.
Jack Ma's. Yeah, that's right.
It's very interesting because it was an investment in Jack Ma that made SoftBank the money.
Yeah.
So she saw the money.
I mean, every entrepreneur or every investor's dream would be to find a Jack Ma in the world.
Jack Ma in the world. So does either of you see himself as a new Jack Ma in India?
Well, I think that there is no doubt about it. This country is producing companies which some of those will become $100 billion companies. It is going to happen. India will see internet conglomerates. Exactly like what at Industrial Revolution time happened. And some of us companies will one of those who would give these returns like these. I have an investor in my company who owns nearly 40%, and I think he would make $10 billion out of it.
From your company?
That's my and his commitment to each other. It'll be answer of $10 billion ticket for him.
So, the same question to you. Do you see a Jack Ma coming up in India?
I think while every entrepreneur is different, like Vijay said, I think my belief is the next generation in India, very similar to, like it has happened in various other countries, especially because India as an economy has never been unexplored. And I think at a lot of levels with financial inclusion coming in, with people sort of starting to pay via means that are significant than one another, consumerism taken to the next level, I think my belief is there will be not only one, but there will be many more, and there will be companies that will be much larger than they were in China, because our belief is India would, because of the fact that we are English speaking, will create companies for the world.
And if we aren't, we become English speaking.
Yeah.
We both are example of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we survive.
And we survived. We could, I mean, in this world, I have learned one thing, that language is such a barrier. And I think I was young, but going in a classroom from school topper to a backbencher in some days and not able to understand the words, it was very, I mean, I felt like a Amitabh Bachchan underdog in the movie that रोते हुए आते हैं सब हंसता हुआ कोई जाएगा.
Without a rekha to help you along.
Without a...
That's important.
Okay.
So in some ways, both of you are like 2 of 3 idiots, isn't it? So you sort of stumbled into engineering area, you in a college, he on way to a college, and then figured that your calling was something else.
Yeah, I think engineering college was way to get a short job, if you will. Coming from a background where job was the most important.
Affirmation that you're good for something, that you can get into an engineering college.
True. And
that's the reason you were going to Kota, because your parents wanted you to go to an IIT to say, hamara beta.
Not really. My parents are very different. It was me who wanted to go because I felt it was very glorified. My family at every point of time felt beta should be dukaan mein. Traditional Marwadi family, right? So my family said, 3 साल के लिए तुम्हें कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे, तुम्हें जो करना है करो. उसके बाद अगर कुछ नहीं हुआ तो दुकान आ जाना.
So my negotiation was nearly on a similar line. So my father had to take a loan because there were some family needs. My sisters were getting married and so on. And I had a reversed pact with my mother. Till the time house loan is paid, I will be in a job. After that, you will not ask me what I'm doing. So even though I sold company in this 2-year time period. After that is what I started 197, which is what I'm committed to for so long. Versus in those days, I took many jobs, but my assurance was that it is a monthly money that you want at the month end.
And you had hard knocks also in Bharat.
Yeah. I think there were times when money was not sure, and there were times when the job that I was part of, I didn't feel happy about, so I left that job. And then I think I've learned one thing, that if you're restless and you are chasing something, you should continue on that mission. You should not settle for
I
less.
think it was very similar for me as well, because when I was planning to drop out of college, it's so funny how it happened. So I took admission in a college, and my family felt for 6 months I was going to college, which I was not. I went only for 3 days. So my dad showed up one day to the college, asking how's my son doing, and the dean was like, he's not come to college for 6 months now. So he called me as, what are you up to? And I said, come over to my office. He's like, office? What are you up to, right? And that's when
How old were you then?
I was 18.
Youngest CEO from India. That is his website he used to call.
Not even funny. But at that point of time, I think this is like the...
He was not known for understatement.
So that is like the first Gmail ID that you create, right? That gets inscribed in you through your life.
So what was your Gmail ID?
It still is. It is ritesh.agar93@gmail.com, because that was the year I was born. Because Google would suggest you that email ID, right, because if you could not find your original.
I really thought it would be called on your own at gmail.com. I mean, logically.
No, but at that point, anyway. So I think my full-blown practice that evening with my dad was to explain him there is no downside is not going to college for a year. Because I basically said, a lot of people take a gap year. This is like a gap year for me. I knew I would never go to college, but I wanted to make sure that he felt comfortable for at least a year from then that I was not going to school.
So you're not a graduate? I didn't know this.
Huh?
You're not a graduate?
No.
Officially?
I went just for 3 days to college.
Oh, so you never went to college after 3 days?
He's a genuine dropout.
He's like I went to college and I found out that this is such a waste of time.
No, I seriously felt it was a waste of time. Yeah.
Wow.
I actually signed a contract with the TL Foundation that I won't go to college.
Oh, really?
You have to sign a contract with them.
That's a scholarship. Thiel Foundation is for dropouts.
Yeah.
Dropouts under 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Under 20.
So they give you $100,000.
I really
They reward you for dropping out these days. Before you become Bill Gates.
I needed that in my time, but I think we are age old.
So you are now investing in startups, I've noticed.
So we in fact, interesting life of mine would go to a level where in 2010 we were generating hundreds of crores of profit, and because we can't issue dividend to the investors, so we started adding cash to the bank balance, which had to be invested to other companies. So this is a phase that we actually opened a fund also with my fund investors as a partner, $100 million fund, and then we started investing. We invested in Scotland, we invested in Singapore, we invested in Bangalore, Delhi. We actually run a portfolio of about 26 companies, and these companies we have had exits, made money, continue to invest more. Today it is about ecosystem.
And you also give them space to work from your offices.
Okay, so this is the personal thing that one point of time in my life, I needed 8 lakh rupees on loan to be paid, and this gentleman who gave me 8 lakh rupees plus some office space to work costed me 40% of equity.
40% of your company.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that is my angel investment, if you will. So I think later I figured out that there was a significant value of the office space that I got because I was not paying rent. So I took when my life was scalable, I can take a larger office. I offered it to every startup that at least don't spend on office and get broken like I was. And if this is logical, viable startup and we have space, we won't ask you for anything. Please come and start working from here. So we actually have a very stable, formal, sensible plan there, that if you stay after 6 months and if you want to stay on, you could just pay 5,000 rupees so that you believe that you are staying in a stable place, but we've not even taken that from people. So all of our office, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, have tens of startups.
And what do I keep hearing? Are you moving to Bangalore from Delhi?
So it's a total surprise thing that has happened in my life. I think Delhi's become a little more polluted than I expected it to be. And I may not. It's a decision that will be after a dipstick test I take off Bangalore. I think that's it.
It's a bit early for you to start giving back, isn't it?
He's this guy. He should.
He's a rich guy.
No. There is no age to
$100 million in the bank, you can play with it.
No, but that's a company. But I think,
yes.
But I think with me individually, my cost of living is very limited. So I think in a personal capacity,
You don't live in an OYO.
I used to live in an OYO until 20 days back. I did not have a house. I got a house 20 days back because my family would land in the city and would always be stranded because I won't pick up their phones. So they would be like, we don't know where to go because you're in a different OYO every day. So I had to finally get a house 20 days back to make sure that they have a place to be when they're here. But yeah, so I think because my cost of living is very limited, all the savings that I make, I invest in startups.
So tell me, what is the most interesting thing that you heard from somebody you are disrupting, from a big hotel chain in India or somebody established in the travel business?
I don't think we're disrupting anyone.
No,
yeah.
But
I think I've heard very random stories, all the way from saying, is experience and handicap for us, all the way to some of these hotels we never knew that existed, but there are so many of them. So I think a lot more than that. But I think one of the funniest one was is experience and handicap for us.
and youth is an asset, inexperience an asset. And what is the most interesting thing you've heard from, say, big bankers? I know you're enabling many people.
No. I think
you're enabling many businesses also.
Yes. So I got a total shock and surprise.
I think you told me the auto rickshaw drivers also take money on.
Yes, the beauty is that common denominator of people who are in auto rickshaw or on a small hotel or places, they are exchanging money using Paytm, and I'm very proud that we've reached that level.
Right.
That consumers like them, for whom the trust is very high.
And now RBI has let you become a payment bank.
Yes, that's the license that we've got in the next 18 months.
So you can take small deposits. You still can't give loans.
We can enable loans to them by somebody else. Right. We won't directly out of our balance sheet so that the money stays on.
Right.
So the hilarious thing, which is I think is a total surprise to me, is that very large nationalized bank, private bank, gentleman said, I don't think technology can change banking and technology can reduce the cost of banking, or the way the expectation of these new payment banks is that they will be able to change few things they won't be able to do. While I personally believe that whenever technology has attached to any industry, travel, hotel, retail, payment, commerce, and now banking, I think the industry takes a lot more time to understand the technology than technology understands the vertical and then disrupts it. We have an example here, and we have maybe an example in payment industry as Paytm there too. And I think they are, in Gandhian word, I would say, first they will underplay you, second they will imitate you, third you will be winner.
Well, I think on that note, I would say keep disrupting and keep growing.
Thank you.
And keep investing, because giving back is also very important, because just as someone like you has become so big and so successful, not everybody gets success at 21 as you've done. So both of you,
Thank you so
you are
much.
pioneers. But once again, keep disrupting.